Hello, Kingmaker tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Pathfinder Kingmaker with me, BlueAnkylo. And just a reminder, of course, that we're currently playing the closed alpha, so anything you see in these videos is subject to change and maybe missing features. So anyway, last episode in our introduction, I went over the character creation for our sorcerer, our blue dragon sorcerer, BlueAnkylo. And today we're going to get to the gameplay. And I realized I should have mentioned something last episode that I didn't, so I'll mention it at the beginning of this episode to make sure a few of you hear it. One of the main selling points for this game, and again, of course, I didn't mention it, but there'll be links in the description towards the game and more information. If you were unable to Google it ahead of time, I'm sure I can direct you in the right course. But one of the main features of Pathfinder Kingmaker is that one of the plot points is you're essentially making your character into some sort of king. So I don't know much about it, but supposedly we'll be building a kingdom, like actually, looking after a castle and maybe building some towns up or something like that. I guess there was some things kind of like that included in Neverwinter Nights 2, and it was a part of Baldur's Gate 2 specifically, I think. And I've always been a fan of those sorts of mechanics where you build some sort of settlement up. So hopefully that looks really cool as we maybe find out more about that in the game. But yeah, that's one of the main sort of features of the game, and I'm looking forward to that one. I forgot to mention it. So anyway, let's get started here. And maybe they'll have a narrator one day. For now, you'll have to just make do with my voice. So, introduction. What is a human being? An animal who loves stories? That's what my mentor at the Academy of Grand Arts, Honorable Eobald the Insightful, used to say. Our world is made not of rivers and mountains, forests and cities, but of countless stories. That's why the work of bards is so important, for we find, keep, and tell those stories. Truth be told, I never did graduate the Academy, just because I wrote a limerick about the king. But never mind. Being a bard is not about the graduating, it's a high calling. A real bard's place is not within the school walls, but out here, wherever the living history is being made. To prove that, I've started the book, which you, oh my reader, are holding in your hands. Here, I'll record the most amazing story the whole of Golarion has ever heard. My name is Lindsay. I'll add some fancy nickname later. And my path leads me to the Stolen Lands. This is a mysterious and dangerous area. Time and again it has attracted various heroes who tried to get honor and fame, but mostly found only inglorious deaths. I don't know yet how this story will end, for it has just started, and I'll write down everything I witness without keeping anything back. So follow me, my esteemed reader, follow me to the Stolen Lands. Lindsay. Gotta come up with some fancy nickname here. The Stolen Lands. These lands belong to no one, but are a headache to everyone. They're little more than a strip of disputed territories connected by mile after mile of bad roads teeming with bandits and monsters the entire way. And this is where our small party is headed, led by an audacious but still unknown hero. The Breivik Swordlands sent us to enforce some semblance of order in these parts, and we're to start by defeating a gang of bandits led by a leader calling himself the Stag Lord. The reward for success includes a barony and the right to rule the freed lands. The punishment for failure, ignominious, too many syllables, typical bard, death. But the path to greatness starts with small steps. Our first order of business is to ensure the safety of a trading post belonging to one Oleg Levitin. And thus we begin. You can see the exact version of the alpha we're currently working on. So we've got some pretty standard camera controls. I'm using WASD for that. If the frame rate looks a little laggy, I'll adjust graphic settings as time goes on, or they'll optimize them as time goes on, you never know. The mouse scroll wheel zoom's pretty standard. Middle mouse button, click and drag, pretty standard motion controls. Right click to move, left click left click or right click to move. Okay, that's fine for now. But you can click and drag to select your party members.
Adventures await.
I would expect somewhere in here there's a, or at some point at least, there will be a formation, like right here. This is all very familiar if you've played Baldur's Gate. Oh boy. So yeah, I like that kind of stuff. And we can make some custom formations though. That's not something I remember. Neat. Oh, look at this. Oh, Baldur's Gate would have been so much better with stuff like this. So you can follow the grid. You can make a... Oh yeah, I like it already. This is good. This is some good stuff, boys. Alright, I don't know what I want to do with my formation right now. Honestly, this is fine, except maybe... Let's keep the... I'm assuming these two are my mages. Actually, no, they're not. I'm one of the mages. I'll have to look at the characters in a second. I think these are the two actual mages. We'll keep these two in the back, and that'll do for now. Alright, that's really cool. I like that. So I should... Well, we'll look at our characters in just a second. I couldn't resist looking at some of these things. Okay, so let's go through some of the menus here. So we've got the journal. Somewhere in the Stolen Lands, a gnome sorcerer, Taruccio, is wandering. The rival of our leader of the Barons Coronet. He is cunning, dangerous, and definitely preparing some nastiness for us. This way or another, we must defeat him. So, I wonder if this is class-specific, because it's a gnome sorcerer, and maybe there's a different class enemy for every starter, basically, potentially. And then the main quest, the Stolen Lands. We are setting off to our first big adventure. Jamandi Aldori, a Rostov swordlord, too many fantasy names here in a row there, is testing the contenders for the role of the ruler of the Stolen Lands. There is only one way to prove you are worthy of the title: to rid the vicinity of the ravaging bandits and their leader, a bloody cutthroat named the Stag Lord. Tremble, you scoundrels, we are coming. Okay, good to know. So there's our journal. We do have a map, and again, there's a shortcut. There's hotkeys for all these as well, so that's good. It'd be cool if there's a way to put that sort of as an overlay. Maybe we'll see about that later on. Oops, don't run into trouble yet. Hold on, guys. Let's see. We got back to settings. I assume basically the same as at the main menu. If you can actually change difficulty on the fly, that'd be interesting. Well, that makes things a little easier. We've got camp. Maybe only in certain locations can you use camp. That would be pretty standard. Inventories. All right, so we do have some characters to look at. You've got a character sheet for everybody, an inventory sheet, and then you can check their spells and stuff. So anyway, we saw, BlueAnkylo. If you watched the first episode, you saw me create my character. This is how some of the secondary stats turned out. It looks like they started us with a light crossbow, which is probably good, keeps us safe. Now, I don't have any proficiency with it, so I expect I'm suffering a penalty here somewhere. There's probably a penalty somewhere if you pay close attention to all the stats around here. That's my damage range. That's the critical range. You have to roll a 19 or 20 out of 20 to get a critical hit. Oftentimes, if you don't have the proficiency, though, you can't even use criticals, but whatever. Point is, we've got like a default weapon that's relatively safe. We've also got a dagger, which is kind of terrible. But that's cool. That's our basic inventory. No armor or anything. We've got some camping supplies, basic sorting methods here. This is a shared stash between all your characters. So that's nice. I actually prefer this to individual backpacks where you have to move stuff around all the time. So if it's just a shared backpack, that's kind of nice. Probably different characters have different carrying capacities, perhaps based on their strength. And then that applies to the total weight that you can carry in your stash, maybe? Like, something like that would be fine. So anyway, that's me. So then, as far as I can tell, they give you 3 sort of pre-generated NPCs to fill out your starting party of 4. I know there's more people you can recruit later on. And one of the other selling points of this game is apparently there's quite a lot of dialogue and backstory with the characters. The reason we don't create 6 generic characters is a lot of the game revolves around the personalities of your party. So that's fun. That's a lot like Baldur's Gate, right? So anyway, we've got Amiri here, who is a barbarian. She's got a really large bastard sword, starting off the game with a large bastard sword +1 that does 3 to 17 damage is insane. But that's great. So it's really heavy, I guess, but otherwise it's impressive. And she's pretty strong, so the carrying capacity is probably not a problem. She's got a little bit of armor at least, some hide armor. You can kind of see some of the armor class here, some of her saving throws compared to me. I'm better at will saving, much worse at fortitude and reflex. But that's why you put her up front, to block the road. If we look at her character sheet, you can see a little bit more about her story. That's cool. So Amiri is a barbarian from the realm of the Mammoth Lords. She is blunt, a little crude, and doesn't say much about her past, but her heart's in the right place. I wouldn't have anyone else at my side in battle. So she's one of those big front lines. She's got a little bit of lore, which is interesting because she's got no int, but that's fine. She's got nature lore. She's got perception. She's got athletics. Maybe fighters get extra skill points or something, because I don't know how I would have gotten that many skill points at level 1. But it's all good. You can check her abilities out. I'm not going to spend too much time going through all of these. Suffice to say, that looks like your standard starting barbarian stuff. That's her equipped weapon. A little bit about where some of the stats come from, the modifiers. She gets +4 from the strength, I think. +1 from the weapon. Oh boy, combat maneuvers. I'll look into this stuff more later on. That's like the reach of the weapon, I think. So stuff that's like spears and oversized longswords. Bastard swords are colossal. And that gives you an advantage. There's generally an advantage when you're fighting enemies that are at lower reach than you. I'm not sure exactly how the math all works out, but, you know, it's all there if you really want to look into it. There's your class sheet. There's your biography again. And that's all we're going to look at for Amiri. So then we've got Valerie, who is a fighter, although it could have been a paladin with the armor set, but that's fine. So just a plain old fighter, the valiant defender, a reliable comrade in battle. Proud Valerie rejected her destiny of becoming a paladin. Oh, see, she could have been. Leaving the order to find her own way in life. Her loyalty to our cause is only matched by her divine beauty. Sure, she can be a touch of arrogant at times, but I always feel safe when she's around. Like she's a rock I can cling to. So maybe this will be one of those classes that can turn into the steadfast defender later on, or some sort of paladin hybrid later on, maybe? I don't know. What's her, where's her alignment? Paladins can only be lawful good, so I actually don't know where you can see their alignment in-game here. I'm assuming they'd have to show it somewhere, but I just haven't seen it yet. Anyway, so she's just another human fighter with really good armor class. So she must have, if we go back to inventory here, a lot of heavy armor. So she starts with banded mail, which is pretty good for early game armor, and also a really big shield. Yeah, tower shield. That's a lot of extra armor class right there. She does start with a potion of... actually, did I check? Yeah, the inventory for Amiri was pretty light. Valerie has a little bit more stuff going on. She also has a pretty good bastard sword. It's not as good as the barbarians, but it is masterwork, whatever that means. It might mean it's lighter or something. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it goes from 1d8 to 1d10 or something like that. She gets 2 attacks per round? I thought, oh. Oh, that's your attack bonus, maybe, is it? Yeah, that's your attack bonus. Okay, no problem. I'm trying to see where that 1d10 plus 2 is coming from. I wonder if she has, like, a shield bash or something like that. Or no, that's just... Okay, 3 to 12 is 1d10 plus 2. That's just 2 ways of displaying the same number. No big deal there. You can see their melee range, armor class, more saving throws. Let's just go through her character screens a little bit quick. So she's a fighter. And it looks like she might be going for the shield focus. She's got the bastard sword proficiency and the tower shield proficiency. It's kind of funny that they gave us 2 characters that both use the bastard sword. But that's fine. If I was building my party, I would diversify the weapons a little bit more is all I was thinking. Oh, they get the humans. That's where they get their extra skill points, because they've got the human class. Even though I'm sort of a human, because the character gen doesn't really handle that stuff right now, you don't get the bonus human skills. I got +2 to attributes instead of the skill bonus. That's fair. Okay, and a little bit more stats if you want to read about it. The basic class tree, and then finally, our final character is Harim, who is a dwarf cleric. Right, cleric, dwarf. And you can see his stats. The servant of a dark god. Oh, you can click on these. Didn't do anything. Give up your hopes and embrace the inevitable end. That's the kind of speeches Harim's companions have to endure. Every single day. A priest of Gruitus, Harim left dwarven lands to spread the word of the god of the end times throughout the stolen lands. Although, if you ask me, Harim's just a whiner. One of a kind. So he's following the god of the end times. That's not one I'm familiar with, but he's got lots of lore in religion. So you get a pretty negative penalty to skills that your armor can basically break. So, like, Valerie doesn't have any, like, good skills at all. Even though I'm assuming she put points into athletics and lore. Weird. Anyway, we've only got certain, like, we need a rogue is what we're definitely missing. And maybe an int-based caster, because we don't have one right now. Anyway, let's have a quick look at some of his stuff. Touched by chaos. That's different. Channel positive energy. They got that dwarven perks. Look, they have some of the racial stuff in here, obviously. Slow and steady will be a racial perk for dwarves. Dwarven clerics are pretty standard, I would say, as well. Chaos Domain, huh. There's an awful lot of stuff to read, and I could spend all day just looking at all this if I really wanted to, but can I just see at the very least what spells he's got? So he's a level 1 cleric caster, of course, but he's got the Chaos Domain and the Destruction Domain for his cleric picks, I guess. To start with, he's memorized True Strike, which will be a buff. So it's a really high chance to hit on your next attack. If you really need to hit something, that'll definitely hit something. And then after that, he's got... Oh boy, I'm not familiar with the cleric scheme at all. That's the only spell you can memorize. Okay, see, that's why a really high level... really high charisma. I didn't even show this off. But I can cast, of these 2 spells, I can cast any combination of them up to 5 times per day. He can cast his spell once? Is that it? Like... something like that. He does have casters, or cantrips, or what they called orisons, I guess. They may be used again. So he's got some basic low-level magic. And this is the cleric spellbook, essentially, right? Wow. Alright, it's getting complicated. Let's just get on with it, right? Let's just get on with it. I wonder if I should move myself to the back like that, so it's maybe shield person up first, then barbarian, then dwarf, then me. And then do I have to change my... Did that mess up my order? Yeah, it totally did. So we want the fighter up front, and then me and the dwarf at the back. In fact, I bet you the dwarf would even do better in combat than I would. So I'll go with something like that. I didn't look at his inventory. That's what I forgot. Sorry. We're almost done going through all the intro. Harim has a heavy mace and a heavy shield. So yeah, his armor class is actually pretty good. Like everybody here, except me, has pretty respectable armor class. The Barbarian actually doesn't have that much, but she's got the HP for it at the very least. He starts with some chainmail, heavy shield. Did I see what his perks were for proficiencies or anything? He's got medium armor proficiency and shield, but no specific weapon proficiency. I guess that's where I get my ability to use the crossbow is from simple weapons, right? That must give you a small selection of basic weapons. Well, it says dagger proficiency group, light crossbow proficiency group. I'm not sure exactly where the crossover between simple and specific perks go, or specific proficiency feats go. Anyway, let's just get on with things. I know I spent a long time here just looking at menus, but it's important for a new game. Save yourselves, fools! So I'm assuming, you know, there's gonna be some combat coming up here real fast. In the name of the Stag Lord, the lawful authority in the stolen lands, we demand this week's tax and some beer. And where's that pretty wife of yours, Oleg? She should serve us dinner. Quiet down, dimwit. Oleg, we're just here for the Stag Lord's taxes. Hand over the money and we'll be on our way. You want to drink some of my blood too? I'm sick of you. You're like locusts. You think you control everything around here just because you put up that painted rag of yours. You come here, squeeze us dry, and come at... Oleg, a large man with a rough face, stops talking when he notices you. Ah, you must be the guests from Rostov. Wow, you've got a class modifier here right away. Did I pick neutral good? I thought I meant to pick chaotic good. Ah, well, it's fine. I'm not interested in bloodshed, but I won't let you rob this man. Be on your way and I'll let you go in peace. Sure, we'll play that, because it's kind of unique. The woman smiles coldly. Alright, we'll leave. But what makes you think we won't just return with greater numbers? Why would we leave when we've got easy pickings from Rostov before us? We'll rip out your guts and empty your pockets. Looks like we're getting for combat anyway. Alright, so let's see how this works. I have not done any combat in this system at all before, so I want to get through this. So we've got initiative checks. If you want to see the math, you can see sort of who goes first in the turn order. Looks like we've got 3 bandits to kill. I may have talked Oleg down. He doesn't have a red barrier on him. Or a red, you know. So what do we need to do? Do we do anything here? It's all new to me. Well, spacebar unpaused it. We're just going to fight it out. You can see, I wish I could maybe expand this a little bit. If you want to see the actual results of our attacks and stuff. Let me, it looks like they're all melee, so I can just help out from far away. I'll try to maybe focus down this guy quick with the magic missile. And Oleg, does he have any cantrips that would help here? They're not using magic. Don't need light. 1 temporary hit point. It's not very much. And that's like a tiny version of his true strike. I wonder if he casts the same as I do, actually. His pick any spell and you can cast, like, he doesn't have memorized spells the way I would think most priests, clerics do. Anyway, we'll let him just fight it out. Oh, wow. Berserker Rage there. Hey! It probably didn't even matter. They did 17 damage right after my magic missile. It looks like the Berserker Barbarian chick, what's her name here? She's pretty much strong enough to wipe these guys out on her own by the looks of things.
Here I am, see?
Amiri. Yeah, it looks like she used her Rage, which changes her stats a little bit. It's in her ability pool somewhere. So she's got this rage ability that gives her +2 to all of her attacks. But it gives her a penalty to her armor class. But yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Alright. Nice little starter combat. We should probably loot them, right? Now, none of this might be valuable for equipping, but we need stuff to sell for money, right? Alright. Let's get everyone moving up. Alright, Oleg. Maybe we didn't talk any bandits down. Oleg was the guy that lived here, of course. Take that, you scoundrels! Oleg shakes his fist. But now, he scratches his head and stares at the ground gloomily. The girl got away, a plague on her. She's certain to complain to the Stag Lord. They came before to collect taxes, but this time they come to punish treason. Now what are we to do? He sighs. If only I could send Svetlana somewhere safe and show those rats what's what. He notices a fair-haired woman approach. Dove, why are you here? I told you to stay hidden. Svetlana. It's all over, I saw it. I just needed to be sure you were all right. The woman looks at her husband tenderly, if with a hint of sorrow. Oleg mumbles something as he looks away, embarrassed. My name is Svetlana. I'm sorry your arrival to our trading post turned out so unwelcoming. Do we think we're going to get attacked again? Alright, well, let's get to the point then. You say the bandits are going to attack again. Who are they, and when will they arrive? Oleg waves his hand sullenly. Who are they? They're the Stag Lord's gang. That's who. These lands teem with bandits like bedbugs in a beggar's hut. And you just stirred them up. They have a camp not far from here. I expect they'll return full force in half a day, maybe less. The Stag Lord won't take an insult like this lightly. And his henchmen are more like demons than men. They seem pretty weak to me, and we're only level 1. Let's see. Oh, I wonder if these conversation points are from different members of the party. Like, I couldn't see the alignment of my characters, but I bet you the dwarf is neutral evil and the fighter is lawful good. And the barbarian may have been neutral good. So maybe that's what we're getting, is they're speaking up for those. Or because it's the alpha, they just show all possible alignment choices. Aren't we basically here on order of some baron, or some count, or some lord anyway, to take this guy out? We already sort of know what we're doing. You got nothing to fear, I'll help you deal with them. Or, it's just okay, it's also possible that you always get those dialogue choices, and you gain, like, alignment points based on which ones you pick, and that's all this is telling us. It's certainly possible. I'm pretty sure we could turn that off if that's the case, actually. Which I might do. Well, I appreciate your good intentions. I may not have the best manners, but Oleg Leviton is the last name you'll hear accused of being ungrateful. If we manage to defend this post, I'll reward you proper. We have to hide Svetlana. Please don't argue. Dove... please don't argue, Dove. Now, we also need to decide on a plan. Go ahead and look around. There may be some tools that can be used for battle. There are some pretty solid traps around. Some tar and a box of alchemist's fire, looks like. Alright. Well, alchemist's fire. We could put it by the gate. Light it off with a burning arrow when those bandits are nearby. Maybe. Sounds tricky. But that would set the post on fire, Oleg shouts, surprised. Well, maybe if we cover the walls with something to protect them, alright. Yes, I think it could work. I'll even shoot the arrow myself. I used to be pretty good with a bow back in my day. Alright, let's go do it. Alright, as soon as you're finished, let us know. Don't leave the post. Alright, so it looks like we need to set up for an attack. I will be doing that in the next episode, because we're already 30 minutes in. I know we didn't make a lot of progress, but... next episode, we should be able to prep this this tavern, or whatever it's supposed to be, and defend against a bandit attack.
Hit the road.
Should be fun. Oh, you know what? Before we go, I think we should level up. We did start, oddly enough, with 1900 experience, which means we were very, very close to our first level up. Unless you can only level up at certain areas. What do we do? Just click the plus sign? Yeah, just click the plus sign. Alright, so let's just figure this out real quick. It looks like you could pick whichever class you want, so multi-classing is pretty simple. But for the most part, I'm going to be sticking with leveling up one class to start, because you'll get more advanced abilities rather than spreading it all out, basically. So for Fighter, let's go to Fighter 2. And we get 2 skill points because of her human special, her human feat. So now she's not going to get a whole lot of... Because she's going to have heavy armor penalty, a lot of these aren't going to help very much. Unless we put a lot into athletics. But yeah, like her heavy armor is really weighing her down. She can still be our religious one. I'm assuming we're going to find someone who covers the dexterity stuff at some point, but it's definitely not the right time for that. Funny how that only added 1. Oh. Did only the first point add 4? Weird. Max rank value. Oh, that's the highest level you can put it at, is all it's saying. I can't go past level 2. Alright, well, I mean, 1 point here doesn't make much difference, so I don't think it really matters much what we do. And because she's a fighter, she gets a bonus feat every level. So, you can do armor focus for specific types of armor, but generally it depends on what type of armor you get. So, you want, like, you probably want her to get full plate, but we may not have it any yet, so it's no big deal just at this moment. So I'd like to pick up a feat that kind of helps her no matter what we go with. So let's see. She is also kind of our defensive character. I don't know how that works. So this one needs multiple characters with coordinated defense. And we get a bunch of competence bonuses, whatever those mean exactly. Let's see if there's anything... Power attack sounds like the sort of thing we often want to give our melee fighters early on. It's bonus damage at the expense of accuracy. And then precise strike. It's like if there's 2 people fighting at the same one, you kind of get a bonus. Shield bash might not be a bad idea because she likes tower shields. May attack. Weapons with light and heavy shields. Oh, so there's the 2-weapon fighting penalty, which is probably pretty brutal if she's not very dexterous. We could go shield focus to just give her a flat +1 AC. She's already got a bastard sword, so we could give her a +1 attack, like accuracy, essentially. All kinds of crazy... We don't have any rays right now, whatever those are. It depends on if I plan on keeping both of my fighters with bastard swords. And again, I don't know... That's probably not what I want to do, so I'll probably be switching out my fighter here to use something different, like at least a long sword instead of a bastard sword, so we've got 2 different types. I think I'll try to take a more generic one to start, like power attack, and this will at least give her the option to do a... Like, sometimes you just need to deal damage more than accuracy. So we'll go with that. And then we'll try to get these levels up a little bit faster here. So Barbarian level up again. We'll learn Rage powers and Uncanny Dodge. Automatically, that is. And then we got 3 unassigned skill points. I do think Perception will eventually go to the Dwarf more than my Berserker anyway. But we'll just level up the skills she's currently got anyway. It seems fair. Seems simple enough. So it looks like this is a rage power specific to the barbarians. I don't know much about these. We'll have a quick look at some of these. The barbarian gains a bite attack? Wow. That's something. We got a beast totem. While raging, you get +1 natural armor bonus. That's pretty good. Because one of the weaknesses of rage mode is you lose defense, usually. Like, this gives her more attack, but less AC. Oh, that looks good, too. Regains 1 temporary hit point per round, and it goes up as she gains higher levels. Cannot give her more than her maximum temporary hit points from rage. Huh. It looks like you must have renewed vigor and be level 4 to even select it. So, I don't know, maybe that's a bug or it's just unfinished, the fact that we're allowed to select it right now at all. Because this is renewed vigor, so how would we select regenerative stance before this? As a standard action, they can heal herself. That's pretty good, too. I'm just going to go with the beast totem. I think the armor class is fine, and I don't know how, I guess we get one of these every second level. So, we'll pick up probably all of them by the time she's level 10 at this rate, unless there's a lot more that are hidden right now. Those look really cool, though. I like that. Let's get a cleric level up here. And he's really not learning anything but religion, I guess. No new spells or anything. He should have increased his cast per day, but probably not until he rests. I thought clerics had to memorize spells, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just don't understand. Because usually you want to have someone with Cure Light Wounds, you need some amount of healing early on, is generally my impression. Anyway, finally, my own level up. And again, I'm just going to take another Sorcerer level. And I'm going to focus on Persuasion as the talker of the group. And that's it.
I am ready.
Let me have a quick look at my spell book here. Or my... whatever you call this, spell page. Yeah, so we went from 5 spells per day to 6, at least. I didn't learn a new spell, unfortunately. But, that's fine. 6 per day is pretty good. Alright, well that will do for now. I'll promise, I'm going to spend a little bit of time in between episodes, just looking at some of the menus, so that I don't have to spend too much time on camera. I feel like I've done enough overview early on now, and I need to make some progress. So next episode, I'll try to get a little bit more action in, and I'll have maybe pre-read some of the screens ahead of time a little bit better for you guys. All right, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you've got a bit better an idea of how this game's going to work, and I'll see you next time for more Kingmaker in Pathfinder.